Oh, I can't believe it. I'm actually streaming. I have not live streamed in some time. And the reason I haven't been live streaming is actually simply because whenever I stream, it blanks out too much and I lose the connection. And so I just haven't bothered. I've just been recording videos and posting them. However, today, because I don't feel like dealing with okay, it just reconnected. So I'm going to tell you that the OBS loses connection fairly frequently. So that's, if that happens, don't give up. I'm still here. Okay, so you asked me to explain levels, so I'm going to explain levels this way. Okay, so there's three kinds of levels in OpenTunes. A tunes vector level, a tunes raster level, and a plain old raster level. So they sound kind of similar, but they're really not that similar. So I'll start with a raster level. A raster level is actually what Akari's hair is. What makes a raster level unique, and actually I'll say this, because this is probably why you're asking how to use them or whatever. These three icons right up here that I'm highlighting right now let you create a new level in OpenTunes, and you can take your pick. You can create a vector level, a tunes raster level, or a plain old raster level. Okay. So that's how you create them, because somebody else posted a question about that not too long ago. That's how you create these little icons right here. Now you say, well, what if I were to click here and just start drawing? So doodle doodle doodle, and it magically creates a level for me, which it would. Well, it's going to create whatever you have set as the default. So if I go into my preferences, and I actually have to find it, it's probably under drawing. Yeah, under your drawing preference, your default level type is a raster level. Okay, so now you know how to set the default, and you know how to create them. So now the question becomes, why would you create them? Well, let's deal with vectors first. I use vectors relatively rarely, but they are good for some things. And so like this level here, let me just scan through this and find the, okay, this level where you can see that the level is kind of a goldish color, this is a vector level. Okay, and a vector level, if you go into the drawing that's in this level, what you see is it's actually made up of vectors. So if you've ever used like Inkscape or Adobe Illustrator or CorelDRAW, those are programs that all use vectors. And vectors means that this is actually a parametric shape. It can, when I draw a line, like if I hit the B key and draw a line, it's going to actually create a vector shape, which means it can be edited. I can go in and grab these nodes and actually change the lines around. So there are reasons why you might initially think you'd maybe want to use vectors all the time, because one of the selling points of vectors is that they're scalable, which means that theoretically you could scale this shape up as large or as small as you want, and it's going to maintain its sharpness. Okay. So that is a good thing. And if I was creating, if I was creating Family Guy or something like that, where I want real simple shapes, I might use vectors. And one of the good things about vector levels is you can turn on snapping. So if I turn on snapping, then the OpenTunes will actually snap the lines. I'm not really actually seeing it here very well. Let me jump into the level here, and we'll set the level high. So normally when I use snapping, there, did you see that little red light right there? You see that little red light? It jumps. It boop. You see that? I haven't reached the other line yet, but look what happens. Boom! It connects it. Okay, so that's what snapping is. Snapping is useful for that. Okay. So like I said, if I was creating a show that was very, simple, bold lines, and I'm just creating a library of assets like heads and eyes, and especially if I'm doing like a puppet style animation, then I might use vectors. What's the downside with vectors? Um, Mainly when you're drawing, it's kind of hard to control the line quality. You can go in after the fact and use the tire pump tool to do things like this, like add some character to the lines, and I'm hitting the C key now, and then I can actually go in here and simplify the lines and then give myself really clean assets, right? And then when that renders, that's gonna give us really sharp, clean, crisp lines. So that's what vectors are good for, is the same thing you would expect in any other vector related drawing program. Now, like I said, I'm not actually that big on using vectors in OpenToons, at least not. Okay, why did it just create? I must have hit the D key. I didn't mean to do that. The D key creates a duplicate. Okay, yeah, just making sure I didn't do something stupid. Okay, so now I'm hitting the S key so I can select this vector shape and delete it. Okay, so I created his head as a vector shape just basically so that throughout this scene, when his body moves around, I just move his head, and I just animated his head. So I only had to draw it once. That's why I did that. Okay, so now what about a Toons? Actually, no, let's jump to a raster level. So what's the benefit of a raster level? Okay, for that, I'm going to go to the end of the scene. Let's just go down here. I'm going to skip over some stuff that's looking a little funky. And I'm going to go to column 24 here, and I'm just going to click here, and I'm going to start drawing. Okay, so for me, like if you take any art that you've created in another program and you bring it into OpenToons, like, so it's just like a ping or a JPEG, or an image, it could be an image sequence, or just a static image. It will come in as a raster level. Okay, so basically raster levels are just plain old drawings. It's a pixel map. It's a grid of pixels, and it's really good for like sketching and drawing, because what I've found is it's really in terms of interaction, it's really responsive. Okay, so if I'm working out, what something's supposed to look like this character that I'm just sort of making up here as I go along, I like using not only raster levels, but the thing about OpenToons is, okay, well, Krita, yeah, it is like another planet. I've criticized Krita a lot on this YouTube channel, and the main reason is because Krita 4, the main part of Krita that's interesting to me is the animation, because everything that isn't animation in Krita, GIMP does just as well, if not better, for the most part, and it's way more stable. So GIMP, Krita, in Krita, it's only going to be frame by frame animation. There's no concept of, if you're an animation student, you probably know what parenting is, and you probably know what transformations are. So a transformation would be the ability to take your your drawing or your layer and parent one layer to another thing or another layer, so that when you move one layer, the other layer moves with it. That sort of thing, which comes up all the time when you're animating. Are you familiar with the animation capabilities in Krita already? Just post a comment and let me know if you want me to show you in Krita why it's different from OpenToons. If you're already familiar with the animation in Krita, then I'm not going to bother with it. So I'm just keeping an eye on your comments. So anyway, getting back to OpenToons. OpenToons has the MyPaint brushes built into it. So if you've used MyPaint for drawing, the same brush engine that's in MyPaint is in OpenToons, but you can only use it in the raster levels. Okay? So the question kind of becomes, this is very responsive, and it's fun to draw in OpenTunes this way. So why would you not just use your raster levels all the time if you don't want the scaling benefit? I know. Okay, all right. Hang on a second. I know it keeps disconnecting. It's because of OBS. It's going to continue to do that every once in a while. That's why I haven't been live streaming as much. But okay, I'm going to open up Krita and show you what I'm talking about, because this may be useful to you. For a while, I was really kind of big on Krita, actually. But the deeper I got into it and the more I used it for animation, the more I found it was really letting me down a lot. A big reason is Krita is really memory hungry. I mean, really memory hungry. And, okay, so let me just show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to take, and I'm going to go ahead and draw the same basic guy over here, okay? So, because Krita's pretty responsive too, Okay, so here's the guy that I just drew. I'm going to just block this in really quick. And, okay, so as an example of what I was talking about, in Krita, now I just added another level and I put his mouth on another level. Okay, so now the cool thing is I can go ahead and add I'll hit copy frame here, and then I'm only going to just do this over a few frames. I'm going to move his head over here. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and actually just move it again. Move it again. Okay, so now we've just found a couple of the shortcomings in Krita. Okay, hang on. I got to close a couple panels here so I can see your question. Layers equals levels. Yes. Yes. For some reason in OpenTunes they call them levels. Don't ask me why. Then what equal to frame? What equal to frame? I'm not sure I understand that question. So I'm going to keep going and then I'll check back for your comments. Okay, so from these two frames the head moves, and now the problem that I have is obviously I need the mouth to move with the head. So what I really want to do is I want to say, let's take the mouth layer and make it a child of the head layer so that they move as a single unit. You can't do it in Krita. Now that's not completely true, because here's what you can do. I'll go ahead and let me just make sure I got the right layer here. I'll call this head. And I'll make this really quick, and then I'll get back to OpenTunes. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and delete these two frames. Remove frame, remove frame. Okay, so now I'm going to go back here and say, well, if I go... Okay, so here's another example of what I'm talking about. So let's say we moved his head, but we're just trying to cope with Krita as best we can. And so what we do is we say, well, let's just go back to frame 1 and move the face. Okay, let's do that. So that's fine. So I'm going to come over here and just put the face back where it belongs. Okay, we're good. Well, the problem is that these other mouth shapes are now in the wrong place. So now we have to move those one by one. Okay, so let's do that. Let's suffer through that here real quick. Okay, so now we've got it in an okay position. So you say to yourself, how do you make the frames in OpenTunes? Do you want me to kill Krita? I'll do what you're asking for. If you want me to kill Krita and go back and stick with OpenTunes, that's fine. No, levels are not frames. These are frames. These are each frames. Levels are the columns. Okay? Got it? I'm sure you got it. So now I'm going to finish this point. Okay, what I can do in Krita is I can go like this and I can create a group. Boom. Quick group. Now what I did was I've got a group that has the whole head in it. And as you can see, the animation still takes place. Now here's what's interesting. If I click this little thing here that says pass through, now if I go ahead and grab this guy and move it, it does move as a unit. Okay? So I'm going to hit copy frame, and now I'm going to do the same thing again. And what you see is, see how the mouth moved a little bit out of sync with the rest of the mouth moved out of sync. Okay, well guess what, that's because I didn't do that. Okay, Krita did that because Krita is buggy, real buggy. So yes, there is this idea of doing pass-through frames, but in practice what happens is once it gets, once you get anything complicated going on, Krita starts forgetting where things are and putting them in the wrong place, and when it renders, little blocks of color just aren't in the rendered image. There's a lot of things about Krita that are really buggy. And so for that reason, you can kind of kludge your way through, and you could move this center point here and say, well, I'm going to rotate his head, and see, that one worked. So, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I could go back here and I could compensate for it and say, well, okay, Krita's being a little bit stupid, but okay, that just means I got a little more work to do. Okay? So now the other problem is, and I'll wrap up with Krita by saying this. In many cases, what you'd want to do is take this parent layer, and maybe you'd come over here and you'd say, well, on frame 15, I want to move his head over here, and what I really would like Krita to do is interpolate so that between this frame and this frame, it calculates the whole move for me. Well, guess what? You can't do that either. That's the problem with Clip Studio, too. If you look at Clip Studio Paint, you can't, there's no interpolation, there's no parenting, at least as far as I know. You literally, if something's going to move, you have to draw every single frame and draw them repeatedly. So Krita, if you use it for inking and paint, it can be quite good if you don't try to do too much. If it's just one character and then you render that character out and then bring that into OpenTunes, that could be workable. Okay, but I'm not going to save this. I'm going to jump out of here, and now I'm going to go back to OpenTunes. So now getting back to our levels here. The big benefit of Tunes Raster levels is that you can use the My Paint brushes. So the question I was asking, yeah, it is, buddy. Okay, so the question I was asking when I brought this up is, you say, well, okay, what about, we've got all these nice brushes and we can use it for inking, let's just say, and you go, wow, that looks pretty good. So why don't I use Tunes Raster levels for everything? Well, the reason is Tunes Raster levels have no concept of a fill tool. You can't fill a shape. You can't click and fill it. So that's a bit of a problem. Now, is there a way around it? If I wanted to take this, now, to be fair, what I'm doing here is kind of stupid because I put the ink on the same level as the pencil drawing, which you would never really do that, okay? You would want them to be on separate levels so that you've got nice clean ink lines. But let's just, since I'm moving fast, I'm just going to kind of do, okay. So you say, well, if I like the Tunes Raster levels, is there a way to, to do filling that's actually workable? Well, there's basically two ways I can think of. One would be to render out the level as an image sequence and actually do the painting in Krita. You could do that. It's not a horrible way to go. The other thing you can do is you can convert this. So if I go into the scan and cleanup column and I say I'm going to clean this up, and I'm just going to hit clean up all and let it do the default. Okay, what it just did, believe it or not, was it took that raster level and it turned it into, instantly, a Tunes Raster level. Okay? So now let's talk about the Tunes Raster level, because for working on an anime, that's what I'm using the most. Okay, number one, the inking's pretty nice. It doesn't feel like a pencil. It doesn't have that loose, sort of grayscale, scratchy, jittery pencil look like I had with the My Paint brushes. So for just doodling and drawing, I don't like it as well. For inking, it's great. One of the things that's great about it is you got a good smoothing tool. So if I turn the smoothing on, you see how the line follows behind? I can get a really crisp, clean line here. Okay. Now for filling, the Tunes Raster level is also really good because I can hit the fill tool, which is the F key, and boom, 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 boom. Okay, actually I'm going to put a different color there. Hello. Okay, so there's another hidden advantage to the tunes raster levels for the purpose of doing ink and paint, which is this. After you've colored in your drawings, you can go in and you can actually change the whole color scheme. In fact, if I hit the K key and sample that, it'll grab that color in the palette, K key, and so you can change your colors after the fact, which is quite useful. So that's, you can tell that the creators of OpenTunes were definitely thinking in terms of using the tool in a real, animation studio where they're trying to get real work done. Not that it's not buggy too at times, but you'll find the tunes raster levels are pretty good in that respect. So now with that, if you have any specific questions, go ahead and post them, but otherwise I'm going to go ahead and kill this level, knock it back out of my project, and go back to what I was doing when I started. Okay. Okay, so I had gotten to this point. I'm just going to run this sucker from the start. I'm not going to run it at full speed. I'm just going to scan through it. So the thing I did, I think it was yesterday, is I fixed up Akari's hair. So you can see there's some post effects here, the glows and stuff. It looks better when it's fully rendered. But anyway, so she kind of has this expression. Her eyes pop open. She knows there's something going down. Well, what's going down is these bad ninja dudes are climbing into her room. Well, that's not cool. Okay, so this is what I animated the other day. I had to keyframe all this stuff of the guy climbing, and it came out pretty good actually. And then I did all of this as a tunes raster level, other than his head. His head is actually a vector level. I would add one thing when it comes to doing paint. Vector levels are a little persnickety. You can have a closed shape, and if it's a vector level, OpenTunes will often, let me get to your question, camera control, in just a second. OpenTunes will often screw up, and when you try to fill a space, it won't fill it. It won't recognize a closed shape. So it's just really, what you find, if you really get into it, what you find is if you're going to draw with a raster level, or if you're going to construct characters with vector levels, when it comes time to do ink and paint, or at least paint, both of those you really want to convert them to a tunes raster level and do your paint there. Stranger danger, yeah, okay. So camera control, right here's what the question you're asking me. Here's the answer right here on this icon. If I click there, you can see this goes to a 3D view. Okay, now if I go up here, if I hit the animation tool, which is the A key, and I click this, and then I grab the camera from the drop down, and I'm not going to move it, because if I move it, OpenTunes is going to insert a keyframe, and then I'm going to have to go in and delete that keyframe. But if I actually were to drag the position right now, I can drag the camera in 3D space. And so to answer your question, yes, you can do a complete 3D camera move in OpenTunes, no problem. However, in this scene, I didn't do the camera move that way. This camera move is actually a sequence of drawings where the camera move is baked into the drawings themselves. It's a long story. Frankly, I regret doing it. I wish I would have done the camera move in OpenTunes. But what I did was, when I drew the original pencil test, I was working in Blender, and I did the camera move in Blender. So then the camera move was sort of baked in, so I just rendered it out that way. I won't be doing it that way again, but that's how I did it. So anyway. All right, so yeah, the transition, the camera move is just baked into the drawings themselves. Yeah. So again, like I said, bad move. If I had it to do over again, here's what I would do. First of all, you can take any of these levels in OpenTunes, and you can go into, let me see, is it the X sheet or is it the level? It's in the level, I believe. Level settings, or is it edit? Or is it cells? Which is it? I gotta find this. I don't do it very often, but when you need it, it's kind of useful. Anyway, somewhere here in the menu, you have the ability to scale your level. So if you drew something, you know, at the camera resolution, and then you find out you want to bake in a camera move, you can tell OpenTunes to scale the whole level up to make it bigger, and that way you can actually put a camera move in there. So if I had this whole scene to do over again, I would simply make all of the levels twice as big as what the camera's looking at, and then I would go ahead and do the camera move here in OpenTunes. So I hope that made sense. Okay, getting back to work. The problem we have now is, if you notice, if you look really close, you can see the face of a ninja there. What's that about? Well, ninja number 2 has to work his way into the room as well, because once we get to here, we cut to this outside shot, and you can see ninja number 2 is kind of flopping around. Okay, well, the problem is you can see that he's hanging on the edge of the window. So we got to get him up to the window, but we have to do it without him getting his face kicked in. As you can see, when ninja number 1 kicks his leg up there, if ninja number 2 is too close, he's going to get bopped in the face. So that's why we're going to figure out right now what we're going to do about that. Okay. So the first thing I need to do is find ninja 2. I think this might be him here. Yep, that's ninja 2. Okay, so the cool thing is you can see ninja 2 is only one drawing. Okay, if I go here, you can see there's the actual drawing. So as long as we're here, we might as well go ahead and put the finish drawing ninja 1. We may have to add hands later, but I'm actually thinking I'm probably going to be able to just take ninja 2 and I'm basically just going to peek his head in there, and I still have to ink and paint this, obviously. But I'm just thinking I'm going to do this all with the animate tool. So if I'm going to do it with the animate tool, I got to hit the A key, and we're editing the position, because you can animate anything, rotation, scale, yada yada yada, but I'm animating his position, and right now his position is going to be right where it is. Okay, now let's just see how this is going to feel. Okay, so his location isn't going to work. I got to get him down and out of the way. Okay, so what we want to do is get it to where, okay, see, I just inserted a keyframe by moving it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just play with this a little bit. What I think I'm going to do is go like this. I'm going to go ahead and cut and paste this keyframe. C, V, and then right about here, I'm going to pop him up. Okay, so now you'll see what happens. Boop, boop. Okay, that's fine. And then I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. Now, the reason I'm cutting and pasting the keyframes is, hey, Oxar, I know it's been a while. I've been around, man, but see, there's two things going on. Two things going on, brother. One is that I was so sick of OBS glitching when I was live streaming that I just was like not live streaming. I'm just like, you know, I'm just going to make videos. So I've been posting a lot of videos, but I haven't been live streaming. Okay. So then the other thing was, and I said this in a video I posted earlier this week, is that this week I found out who I really am, because I was adopted when I was a baby. And so this week I found out who my real family is, basically. My biological family. I shouldn't say real family. That's kind of an insult to my adoptive family. But yeah, my biological family. So there's been a lot of activity with that. So I've kind of pulled back a little bit. But anyway, so that's been kind of fun. Now I'm going to go back up here and set the center. because I'm about to do a rotation. So I want to have the quick. I don't quite like that, so I'm going to slide that up a little bit so it takes a little longer. And okay, so now the question is, do we want to do anything with his arms? You know, oh good, man. Glad to hear it. Are you doing it in OpenTunes? Are you doing it in OpenTunes or something else? I can't remember offhand what you said you were using. Okay, so now I'm gonna ask you guys your opinion. I say guys. Rose Stone, are you a guy or are you a girl? See, that's what I was gonna. I'm going for 3 instead of 5. Well, I don't blame you. 3 minutes of animation is a lot, man. Okay. So what I was gonna say, guys, is I've got to stick him up here on the corner so he doesn't get kicked in the face. But when you cut to this shot, obviously he's got his arms up there. Okay, Blender and Anime Studio. Okay, cool. So you're doing the bones thing. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Rose. I knew there was supposed to be an A in there. Okay. I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go like this. We're going to hit Control C, Control V. Hey, Valerie, I might want to get your opinion on this, too. And we'll move this position up just a little bit. Okay. So I'm going to let Valerie weigh in on this. What I was saying is, he pops in, okay, and then I don't like the timing of that, but I guess that's not a big deal. So what I'm going to do is on another level, I'm going to put his arm kind of coming up, because when you get to the next shot, he's already like that.
Yeah.
So like, we can get away with that, right?
Oh, of course.
Yeah, okay. Oh, Valerie's my bestie. She's like my bestest friend in the whole world, and she's really smart and stuff. But the great thing about Valerie is, if it sucks, she'll tell me it sucks. And that's one thing I love about her. She doesn't pull any punches. Alright, so now we're gonna. That's fine. Okay, so now this is going to be tricky. I'm really having to fake this. I think what I should do is just put his hand. I think he should just have his hand pop up. Alright, so what I really want to do is let's go ahead and turn off the floor, and let's turn off the sky, because it really makes it hard to see what I'm doing. So let's go back here. Alright, and since we're going to have to ink over this anyway, I'm going to go ahead and, by the way, this is a little problematic. I really want that to be at 0 so that the brush size is correct. For some reason, OpenTunes is not drawing right now. Let me start with his finger. That's what I was going to do. That's exactly what I was going to do. I don't know if I'm going to show him pulling himself up, because it's kind of the comedic thing of when it jumps to this, what you're really going to notice is his legs kicking around. I don't think anybody's going to be and this goes by in like half a second, so I don't think anyone's going to be thinking about the fact that his hands were there, and here he is. I'm going to try to make that story happen, right? So, would you call that a fair description? That's basically what I'm trying to do. So yeah, she's the writer, but yeah. So, but as far as animation, no, there's no team. It's just me. It's just me. That's all you get. But right now I'm going to have to kill OpenTunes and restart it, because as you can see, I'm drawing and nothing's happening. The pencil has stopped working. Let me switch to a different one and see if that changes. No, nothing's working. So I can only assume that that's a glitch in OpenTunes that needs to be restarted. So I'm going to save everything. You know, the bad news with OpenTunes is that stuff like that does happen. The good news is it almost always recovers from stupid stuff like that pretty readily, and it's not a big deal. No, it's not stressful and overwhelming. Where are you from, Rose? Where are you? Are you an American? Or are you from overseas, or where are you from? What's your background? It's always fun to meet new people on YouTube and elsewhere. So yeah, it's not stressful. It's just it's fun, and it's not like, I mean, I can work on it as fast or as slow as I want since it's my project. So no problem. Jamaican, okay. I wondered if maybe you were from somewhere other than the USA, but it's clear your English is really good. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoomy, and okay, actually I should have probably had the, okay, so I'm going to just put that in as a guideline. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the fingers so that they're essentially digging in here. And gosh, I'm thinking maybe, okay, I'm going to duplicate that. I'm just going to basically duplicate that, because I want to see a little bit of a shoulder thing going on here, like that. Okay, so, okay, that kind of looks stupid. This one looks dumb. I don't like that. We are very new to the industry. I'm one of the first future. Right on. Good. That's cool. We need more animators in Jamaica. And we need more animators here in the US of A. I guess. So, yeah, we have this border. I mean, theoretically, I probably should kind of erase. No, actually, forget that. I shouldn't erase that. Okay, so what's bugging me is this. So I'm just going to say, let's go like that. And do we want to do one more? Let's do one more. This is some people could criticize me for being a little too pragmatic. In other words, if I know that what I'm working on is something that no one is ever going to notice in a million years, then I'm not going to kill myself trying to make it like perfect when I know that no one's ever going to see it. Okay? This is kind of that way. I mean, I'm going to put sort of the indication of his arm here. But you got to realize this is literally going to go by in one frame. Okay, and this is how small it is on the screen. All right, so what are we going to see? We're going to see him come up here, and that pose really isn't quite right. I'm going to stay zoomed out here and try to touch that up a bit. So I'm not doing my best drawing here probably that I've ever done. I just want to give the indication, so that when we jump to here, okay, and that shot, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the border back in. Let's go ahead and put these back in so we can get a better idea of what we're really going to see here. I don't like this last pose, this last shot, actually. I think we should just get rid of that one. Kill it, get rid of those, drag that down there. Yeah, that's all we need to see. I mean, his fingers are going to come up, and then boom, we jump to this. Let's turn the onion skins back off. And then it jumps out here. That's fine. Okay, the movements are readable, so you're doing fine. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that, Rose. Besides, you ever pause and animate? Yeah, and that's right. I mean, my tendency is to over-animate, without a doubt. Valerie's going, yeah, definitely. Because I'm coming from a Disney, Warner Brothers, that's sort of my animation tendency is to do full animation. So I have to restrain myself doing anime. Okay, so that's fine. I'm gonna go ahead and insert another level here. Okay, so we need to actually. I'm gonna grab these two columns, or levels as we call them. Let's see if we can drag these. Yep, we're gonna drag these way back here. We want them in front of the sky, but behind the wall. Yep, there we go. Look at that. That's great. That's perfect. Okay, so now if we go here and hit the insert key, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick in a Toons raster level. Okay? Because now we need to ink his head. I use a content management system that's kind of unusual. Like I don't use any of the big ones like Drupal, and I hate WordPress. So I use this little one called CM Simple that a guy over in Europe created. But it's a PHP CMS. But anyway, I'm actually redoing my templates, and I'm finally rolling Bootstrap into. I put off comics and dude, come on! I'll be 52 in a few weeks. It's never too late. Am I right? It's never too late. Okay. So now what I need to do is zip down here and let's do some inking. So, okay, so this is a little problematic because we have to. I'll tell you what we're going to do. What I'm going to do actually is come here. I'm going to ink it here and then just drag the keyframe up north and put it back in the right position. Cool. Alright, yeah, so we're almost the same age. Happy birthday, by the way. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and turn this transparency up or opacity down, depending on how you want to look at it. I'm going to go right here, and this is where we're going to ink. Let's rock. We've got our smoothing on. And we are inking, baby. I actually want to turn the smoothing down a little bit. Yeah. I knew that, Rose. I knew you were just a kid. That's alright. Doesn't matter how old you are. Everybody's ideas are worth listening to, kind of, sort of, generally speaking. Oh, man. I'm just full of laughs tonight. Well, like I said, it's been a fun week because I've met and talked to all my new brothers and sisters that I didn't know I had until like a week ago. Well, 2 weeks ago, I guess. And that's definitely been a lot of fun. Really neat people. Great people. And they were happy to discover that I wasn't some kind of, serial killer or, Well, I'd like to say they were happy to find out I wasn't a goofball, but I am a goofball, so. Huh? Yeah, they're goofballs too, right? Uh-huh. Boom, boom. Well, there's the new Harley Quinn. Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely. It's been fun. It's an ongoing process, actually. The only downside is they don't live anywhere near me, so if I'm going to be able to hang with them for a bit, I'm going to have to do a little traveling. That's okay. All right. That was easy, wasn't it? All right, I'm going to turn the B key on again. And now, Rose, you're going to see how we do ink. All right, but before we do ink, what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this, delete. I'm going to go here. Now watch what I'm going to do. This is going to be a good lesson for you, Rose. I'm going to go here. This is what I was talking about before about parenting. So this part is kind of germane to what you were asking me earlier. So what I'm going to do, this is what you can't even dream of doing in Krita. Okay? You can't do it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab my drawing, and just to make my life easier, I'm going to go ahead and stretch this all the way down here. Now I'm going to go up here, and I'm going to go ahead and position this so it lines up with the original drawing. Now you say, oh man, now you got to match all these keyframes. Nope. I don't have to match up these keyframes. Because, watch this. I'm going to go into ink. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the schematic. Oh. You know, I don't know anything about what's going on in comic books right now. Alright, so I'm going to open the schematic view. And what I'm going to do is very, very simple, actually. Alright, I'm going to look for the column N2. Column N2. If I grab it here, it should light up. Where are you, column N2? There's N2 ink, so that's important. I'm going to want that one. And then when you're old like me and Oxer, you can't see. So I'm just scanning through all these bazillion levels trying to find N2. N2, where are you? Anybody see it? I don't know if I've ever had. I wonder if it's in a group, actually. Let me look at this. Let's open this group. Oh dear. That was... Wow. I didn't realize I had quite as much complication. Wow. Bottom. Okay, thank you. You know what, Rose? Yeah, this is... You're definitely... I appreciate you. Just diving in and helping out. Oh, man, this is like so embarrassing. I can't find this stupid level. There it is, over to the right. Okay, thank you. Ponytail, shadow 2, column 29, the vase, peg, column 30, shadow 2, ponytail, floor, sky, beams. Where? I don't see it. Is it in this group? Notes, column 24. Well, folks, this is what happens when you let your scenes get too big. This is actually in... okay, I'm not going to pick on Blender. I think that's actually an Erodius group right there. I'm going to look at this one more time, just because... Column 7... N1... Peg 7... I don't think that's... So I'm looking to see... It's green. Oh, there it is. Well, no, that's N2 ink. And N2 would not be green. N2 would be blue because... What's kind of bugging me here is that I'm looking for one. I'm looking for one that I definitely can see in the X sheet because I want to click it and see something. I would think that the icon would the letters would turn yellow when you grab the icon. So table column 3. Well, I hate to make you guys sit through this because I said this was going to be so much easier, didn't I? And it's actually turning out to be harder. Mainly, no problem, because it's definitely not in a sub X sheet. So yeah, I'll tell you folks, this, you had a blue N2 in the, okay. I think it was this group. Let's open this group. Hello? Are you going to open? Yeah, I don't want to change something by. Oh, I just ungrouped. There it is. Found it. Okay, so normally this takes 5 seconds. Today it took 5 minutes. Sorry. Okay, this is what we're going to do. We're just going to grab this and tag that to that, like that. Okay, now because the ink is a child of the drawing, when we go back here, you will see that they move together. Now, to be fair, to be perfectly fair, and it might be, oh no. I hope ungrouping that, I meant to open the group, not ungroup it, so I'm hoping that didn't create a problem, but it may have. If it did, then I'm going to be in a bit of a pickle, but hoping not. So all I need to do is get these two guys lined up correctly, and now they move in sync. Okay? And that's what we wanted. So I'm going to actually move that up like that. Okay, perfect. Okay, good. I am pleased with how the first book came out and final touches over the next 3 years. 11 more issues. How the first book came out. What, am I missing something here, Oxer? Were you involved in creating a comic book or something? Is that what's... I'm missing what's going on here. Clarify if you can. Alright, so let's go ahead and color this guy. And we'll turn this level on so that he's properly blocked. So you can see that's what's going to happen. So we can actually turn this level off, even though we're using it as a parent. We don't have to see it, right? So, cool. So now we just need to go in and color this guy. And I think, you know, how do I want to do this? I really need to steal his palette from elsewhere. I'm going to do it this way. Anime, and I believe Toons, anime, palettes, Ninja 2. There it is. There it is, folks. That's what I was looking for. So I'm going to drag this to here. And you can see what OpenToons actually did was, well, it looks like what OpenToons did was precisely nothing. Okay, let's try that again. Ninja 2. I am copying it. Something is wrong here. I get this dude filled in. I guess I could just do it this way. Fill. I do want to actually lighten up the value of the highlight or the outlines. Skin. Okay. Technically, that should probably be yellow. Gosh, what color are his eyes? Did I make that something? Let me see. I didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and steal that color for his eyes. Okay, so now we have a little bit of some flaws here, and I'm going to show you right now how to solve that. I'm hitting the F key, but instead of doing normal, I'm going to do freehand. when I do freehand, I can wrap around the shapes like this, and OpenTunes does a really good job of filling it in correctly. So there's that, and okay, that did the trick. Now we can close that out, and this should look about right when he comes up and over. Ta-da! There's our guy. I had someone help with the writing, but I'm doing everything solo like Dave. Okay. Solo like Dave. Dave's the solo man. What does this look like when it renders? Not bad, not bad. I feel like maybe a little detail on his hair would be maybe advisable. Okay, so this actually begs a certain question. If I'm up here, let's say I'm on this frame. Well, let's go to this frame actually. And I say I want to make some changes to this drawing. Okay, OpenTunes is going to insert a new keyframe. I don't want OpenTunes to insert a new keyframe. I want to change this drawing, but I want to change it down here because it's in the right position. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my preferences. I need to look into changing this to like a hotkey. An X sheet. Is it X sheet? I'm sorry, it's not X sheet. I think it's drawing. Yes. In the drawing preferences, use X sheet as animation sheet. Disabled. Now, if I draw anywhere in this level, it's just going to modify the original drawing. It's not going to create a new drawing or keyframe for me. All right. So, with that, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, I know. He looks like Naruto. People keep telling me that. I don't like that one. Okay. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, and now what I just did, I almost never want that. I almost never want that. But once in a while, in a situation like this, it's very useful. Okay, so now we got that. And the question becomes, well, what about his fingers and stuff? Well, you know what, guys? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and try spitballing this one. I'm just gonna paint it in. I'll probably regret this, but so I'm gonna hit the R key and sample that color, and hit the B key. And I really don't like that. Brings up a common problem that I talked about in one of my last videos. Is his hand in front of the wall or is it behind the wall? I mean, it's actually in front of the wall, so really his hand level should be here. Yeah, duh. Right. Okay. So in this shot, actually, since we've got the right color here, let's go ahead and just do it like this. Now, again, he's so small on the screen, and there's so little detail we're going to be able to see that I just kind of feel like I can get away with doing it this way. However, I really don't like this brush. So I'm going to go R, and I'm just going to paint it in. Okay, this is not good. I want this to be darker. Okay, and now that's in front of his face. Yeah, see, I'm actually giving myself grief here. I'm giving myself grief. Why is the pencil not working again? This has been happening. Oh, I guess it is working. Okay, so I'm going to make it bigger. I know, if you guys are probably thinking, what are you doing, Dave? This is like, you're doing this the dumbest way ever. I don't care. It's Sunday night. I'm like having fun. I'm just doing my thing. Huh? Oh, it's Saturday night. Well, you know what? I can do this on Saturday too. It doesn't have to be Sunday. Saturday, whatever. I don't care. I'm doing it my way. Okay, so now I'm switching to my eraser so I can erase these erroneous lines. Erroneous lines. Okay. And so now, okay, Admittedly, it's a little bit of a pain because I do have another frame to draw. But actually, you know what? I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to make this black. I'm going to go like this. Watch this. Watch this. And then I'm going to actually just turn on my eraser and chop it back in. Like that. Whoopsie poo. Okay, unless I do that and like screw it up. We'll see. This is probably going to be... Yeah, that's not working. Oh, great. Now I just use my eraser. Ah! Back to my brush by gun. No, wait. Why did it... Open Tunes, you're making me mad now. Okay, so I got to go back here. I see what's going wrong. We've actually got an interpolated keyframe in here. Yes, that's the problem. So I'm going to have to fix that, but that's not a big deal. That's going to be easy to fix. Okay, so here, OpenTunes always switches back to the basic brush. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go S key, and I'm just going to grab this. I'm going to go Control C, and I'm going to go here. Make sure I'm still selecting the S key and hit Control V and paste them back in. So, okay, so the problem is that movement of his head. And the way we fix that, let me see here. That's kind of interesting. I think that's just kind of silly to even have that there. I'm going to delete that keyframe. Oh, can't do that. That won't work. I'm still going to just adjust it. I'm going to... Okay, really? Really, OpenTunes? That's what you're going to do? It is important to make sure you've selected the correct column. So, call me a goof. Okay, so that goes by pretty quick. One thing I am wondering is where those guidelines are coming from. Where are the guidelines coming from? Nope, those are the lighting effects. I'm sure they're probably down here somewhere. Doggone, I've got 2 minutes. There it is. Yep. Okay. I swear if I was working with Dave, I'd have model that. What do you mean killing the ninja? What are you talking about? Look. Ta-da! Actually, let's put it like this. Okay. Now you'll see what happens. I'll show you guys. Ta-da! See? Ta-da! Pops up. Kicking around. And then it goes into here. And then he accidentally bumps the vase. It's spinning around and oh! And then Ninja... So this is the part that makes me mad. OpenTunes has done something with my ninja. Okay, so here's my ninja. Here he is right here. This is what actually happened. See, because when I originally animated this, he did this cool barrel roll, and Valerie said, come on, a ninja doesn't do a barrel roll. For one thing, it would wake the girl up, so I had to reanimate it. Well, okay. But then it goes to this shot, and he comes over here, which looks super cool, and he catches the vase. Well, OpenTunes, which as I said is also buggy, OpenTunes did something with my ninja character through this sequence. So I'm really hoping that it is somewhere, and I'm going to be able to get it back, but that's another problem for another day. So, well, okay, but you know what? The vase was done Oxer's way. The vase was done in Blender in 3D. And I did a real simple toon style texture and rendering on it, and then just composited it into the OpenTunes scene. So, yeah, there's been a lot of Blender activity associated with this particular sequence. But yeah, when they come in here, so it'll jump to the air, and then I believe one thing I'm curious about here. It seems like I need to show Ninja 2 struggling right here to get into the room, crawling in, because then he goes bam like that with his elbow. So I think okay. So no, but Oxer's got a good point. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of aspects of what I'm doing that would be it would be arguably easier to create all of this in 3D and then do the animation with armatures. But it's just not what we're going for. It's anime, and so trying to do it more the traditional way. Now the one problem I have here is right here. We can see that there is a frame, and I'll tell you what, guys. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna make this one correction right here, and then I'm gonna call it a night. So I think I'm ready to wrap it up. So what's going on here is we should be seeing a little bit of Ninja 2, But let's look at it at speed. Let's drag this down to here, and we'll go to here and look at it at speed and see what we see what we think. So she pops her eyes open, and this is how fast it all goes by. See? You see what I'm saying? I mean, Ninja 2. Right. I agree with you, Oxer. I think that the ponytail may have. I've got to look at that. Let's just say that the ponytail may need some work. So many details. Doggone it. Let's just see. Ponytail. It's that ponytail, like right there. What is that? Ponytails don't do that. It's moving by itself. So. And then it jumped. It anticipated. The ponytail knew what was going to happen, didn't it? The ponytail knew what was going to happen, and it jumped before he did. No, I think to be perfectly serious, the ponytail animation I think is one frame out of sequence. But to address what Oxer's saying, yeah, exactly. But what Oxer's saying is right. You could do like a really low res game, like a game resolution 3D model, and use that as a guide, and it would definitely be for some things it would be helpful, because you got to realize if we and I'm going to explain this and then I'm going to call it a night. But after this happens, sigh of relief, and then he goes and looks behind him, and look what's going on. Okay, Akari's got a knife on him. Ignore this. Ignore the man behind the curtain. That's a mistake. But yeah, so there's a battle that's about to ensue, and you know what? Having a ponytail that's actually a weapon and has a mind of its own may be useful. That's Sony Vegas. Sony Vegas. Or Magix. Actually, Magix bought it. So yeah, this is Vegas. To get the full-blown version of Vegas is, gosh, last time I checked it was like $500, but it might be less than that now. But I've edited a bunch of movies with Vegas. Yeah. So now what we have to do is go through and find. There's the ponytail. I'll bet you that's it right there. Yep, there's the ponytail. Okay, let's look at what's going on with the ponytail. It looks to me like in the schematic view, the ponytail is Wait a minute. Why is this looking like... What's got me confused here is that it seems like there's multiple drawings, but yet I'm only seeing one drawing here. Oh, it's the plastic tool. Duh. Okay, so this is what I think might do the trick. If I grab this, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. Let me grab this and then this. Darn it. OpenTunes, are you going to let me do it? OpenTunes is not going to let me do it. What I want to do here is I just wanted to move the, yeah, right there. There it is. Yeah, this is plastic tool. This was animated with the plastic tool. So that's erroneous. I'm going to delete that and see what happens. Yeah, it's still anticipating, but so that's something I've just got to go in and look at why it did that, because I know there was a time earlier when it wasn't out of sync like that. But probably happened about 3 days ago. No, it's not free. That's Magic's. You can Google it. I don't know what they're charging for it nowadays. There's different versions. You can probably get a basic version that would serve your needs for, I don't know, $50 or something. But there's other free. I mean, if you want to edit for free, you can edit in Blender. I mean, Blender is okay. It's not like amazing, but it is a functional editor. So yeah, so we'll have to deal with the the sentient ponytail at another time. So I think that's it for tonight, folks. It's been a lot of fun. Yeah, DaVinci's free, and DaVinci is a really powerful program too. I have had bad luck with it myself. Every time I've tried to use DaVinci, it is like crashing and acting stupid right out of the gate. So for me, I'm not real big on DaVinci. But other people have had good luck with it. So, you know, what do I know? All right, so I think that's it. I'm going to go save all. We made some good progress by getting Ninja 2 in there now. And I'm sure I'll be back. I'm probably going to not be live streaming a ton. I'm probably going to just make videos and post them like I have been doing. But we'll see. Yeah, hey, it's been fun having you around, Rose. Keep an eye out and, you know, come on back. We like having people from Jamaica hanging out. All right? So with that, I will say nighty-night.